You lead the way.
Hello, and welcome back. How are you, Janis?
I am wonderful. How are you, Alex?
All good, all good.
Still suffering through bad weather in Spain?
Yeah, I mean, even if it looks like I'm on a lot of light right now, it's super cloudy and it has been for the last 2-3 weeks. So it's terrible.
Everybody's complaining.
Yeah.
But okay, you don't have snow. A couple of friends send me pictures from Latvia where there's snow. It's snow outside, and they say, Janis, stay in Spain.
Wise decision.
Yeah. Okay, what's up?
Yeah, so today I actually saw this thread that you wrote, I think it was last week, about that you don't need to be like about the concept of communicating ideas visually and how you don't need to be like a designer to actually communicate ideas visually. And I really like the whole write-up that you made, but I wanted to go like a bit deeper. I wanted to hear a bit more from you, from the source, on what are your thoughts on that, right? Because you give a good example, which I think is that first you bust the myth, right? To be a designer, you don't need to be, you don't need to paint the Mona Lisa with your first painting, right? The only thing that you need to do is communicate an idea, and that could be made with literally stick figures, as Alex, our common friend, does.
Mm-hmm.
And he has blown up on Twitter, and his designs are as simple as they get in the sense of the elements that play in there, but then obviously they share an idea. But yeah, I will stop talking. How do you feel about this?
Sounds good. Oh, maybe share the screen and we can just go
that's
through and I could elaborate on some of the ideas and why actually I wrote this piece. Yeah, I wrote this piece. It was like, okay, I'm like relaunching kind of my course, need to make some sort of sales pitch, but this is something I generally believe about, and it's absolutely true what I kind of wrote there, and I really stand by with that, like regardless that in some sense it was made as a sales pitch for the course. So yeah, I kind of open up this idea that you like don't give up on being a content creator before trying to communicate ideas visually. I've wrote this because I've trying to been a content creator for like 4 or 5 years. Like, okay, before like 5 years, I started get curious about this idea, and like for 4 years, 3.5, I was like not really struggling, but just experimenting with a lot of things, and nothing really stuck. I don't know. Writing did not come easy for me. YouTube was kind of fun, but it was so hard and overwhelming, and it was so much work. And I just thought I feel so bad about my videos, even they were like super high quality, and I'm cringing behind the camera. I just thought I don't have the guts to continue for this like as long as I need to get like really good, because like Matt Diavello is my like inspiration and so on. And all of that was just hard. It really felt like an uphill battle. Huge kudos to everybody who's making like YouTube. And I think, just to bust the myth a bit in the YouTube like video space, probably, you can make a living and be a creator. I think TikTok, or Instagram stories have made video very accessible to average person, who has just a phone. If you have good ideas and if you have a phone, you can make like really good TikTok videos without much production effort and so on. And it can really go like viral and so on. So I think that is one addition that I would add to this, that's another way how it has made it simple. But like to make a YouTube channel or write these blog posts, people can do it. For some people it comes easy, but to me it felt like it comes very, very hard. But yeah, I really wanted to be a content creator, and that did not felt like a path I would be able to do it. Probably I would if I would really commit and so on. But yeah, kind of just that's the reason why I wrote this whole thing, because visuals really changed things for me when I understood that, okay, ideas can be communicated visually. This is actually a thing, and you can explain interesting concepts or whatever in a simple visual. And by the way, you see my screen, right?
Yeah. Perfect.
There's try this up. That you can illustrate these ideas with simple like visuals, whatever. And that there is like a market for it. When we have talked about this before, that like kind of Jack Butcher showed this to us, that okay, you can actually make a living from this, and there is demand and so on. And he found an interesting niche for that. So So that really kicked things off for me, because when I started to do it, it kind of started kind of slowly to take off, and people actually paid attention. And that was something that I didn't experience before at all, even like making my 5 whatever YouTube videos. I've had crickets for my blog posts, crickets for everything else that I've done. One part of it is because I didn't know anything about like creator economy, and I just did things wrong. I should have been back then myself in the communities and so on, and that might help as well. But regardless, like crickets back then, but with visuals, something started to pick up. And yeah, then I just talk about that one of the myths is that we feel that we need to be a designers to do this, and that is like completely not true. And the example I give is that, of course, we are not trying to recreate Mona Lisa. We are not trying to make super fancy sketches and so on. Like, there are so many examples, Tim Urban, Wade But Why, there's this behavior gap guy who just makes like super random sketches, behavior gap. Here it is. I think he has this sketch store, you can check him out here. Like extremely simple, but as well, making a living from this. Like he's a financial advisor as well, so there's a big like knowledge behind these visuals, but still, anybody can draw them and so on. So there are countless examples who embrace this idea that you can simply explain ideas visually, and you don't need to make fancy art or fancy designs. But if you want to, you can actually do really good things. And then I just put up a couple of examples. One of them is like Roberto, who is like in my course community, and it's a very good story. I recently met him actually in real life, and he actually told me I forgot, but he back in the days when I was releasing a couple of my NFTs, he bought one of my NFTs just as an act of support. He was enjoying my content, so he thought, Janis, whatever, I'll buy this NFT. Why not? Let's see how things work in crypto or whatever. And later on, when I created my course, I understood, okay, everybody who has bought my NFTs, I will assign this utility to it that you have access to my course as well, regardless if you want it or not. If you don't want it, maybe you can just give it to someone else or whatever. But if you have bought my NFT, you get access to it. And he was like, okay, whatever, I'll grab the course. And he works in a bank. He has zero intention to do these visuals. He have never like designed anything. And he's like completely crushing it right now on Twitter. He's made like several viral pieces. He had like a couple of 100 followers. Now he's almost at 2K. And he's making like fascinating things and very interesting ideas, and zero design background, zero anything, just sticking things together, understanding some core principles. So again, just super important thought, like don't have this belief that you need to be a designer. You don't. You just need to focus on, I have an idea how I could communicate this visually. Okay, I could make this interesting comparison. Here's a nice example. I could maybe do this twist on it. How I can do it, whatever. Open up Figma and start figuring it out. There's like so much tutorials. There's abundance of tools, abundance of tutorials. If you work in whatever 9-to-5 job and somebody asks you can you do this like Excel formula? You start to Google and you figure out how to make that fucking formula. But when it comes to visuals, like, oh, I'm not a designer. No, you just fucking go watch some tutorials and you're good to go. It's that simple. Especially if you want to communicate ideas visually. You can be, for one example is Aaron. He's really a designer. Every time I look at his pieces, it's art. It's just he often like communicates things in this weird feeling type of way, when it's mysterious and it's very artsy and so on. And that's something where I think you need, okay, he has, I think, a course as well on sketching, and he like says that you don't really need to be a designer as well to learn like sketching and stuff. But that to me is more like artsy stuff. But
it's more, exactly. It feels more artsy. Exactly.
Yeah,
that's the word.
But kind of to at the same time, Alex like went super viral and crazy growth in complete insanity.
This one went crazy. This one went
completely bananas. This one went like
look at
70K likes. I'm like,
that's crazy, man.
That's completely crazy. And he's like, in 3 months, he has grown to like 50K followers, which is,
with that thread,
mind-boggling.
Crazy. Yeah.
That thread, I think, gave him like probably some I don't know. He gained like, I think 5-6K rather quickly. But yeah, another example, zero design background, met him as well in real life and so on, like super cool guy. Now doing freelance, left and right. thinking about like quitting his job, and
That's
so on.
awesome.
So really, people are crushing it without design background. And kind of now to lean in a bit, why? Like we talked about, like, okay, what we talked about. Moving forward here, I just talk about why I think these visuals are, why this way of content creation is so powerful. So here I talk about that most of the work is brainstorming, it's just big part of the visuals that I create is just listening to books, taking some notes, taking some interesting idea, going for a walk, maybe doing some sketches on paper, just figure out how this concept could come alive. So it's really brainstorming, and who does not like brainstorming? Most people like when we can just twinkle around with things. It's not like you need to write this one big article or whatever. For some people it comes easy, to me at least it comes hard. But brainstorming is something we do always. You can explain, like, how do you come up with your visuals? What's the process for you? Is it like, how does it feel
Yeah.
or whatever?
It's mostly like when I read something somewhere and it sparks like an idea, and then I need to, I have like a pen and paper or whatever, and like quickly sketch it, or not even like that. Like a lot of it even comes when I'm walking my dog. So just like when your mind is kind of something else, and then just get this idea, like it's, at least for me, feels like an image. I see an image like super blurry in my head, and then I try to make sense of it. So that's basically the process.
Yeah.
It's a bit hard to describe, but
Yeah. Often it comes like the visual comes to you like quite quickly, but sometimes there is some ideas that, for example, especially if you will do like freelance, then you have these concepts which you need to illustrate, and then you're really like walking with those ideas and just trying to make sense of them. To me, I usually have so much ideas noted down that there's like, I can easily browse them and okay, this sparks something, and then I like kind of start to work on them, maybe bring in the design program and just move things around and so on. So it's really like, I was able to do it, to do a visual a day when I was working in quite tough 9 to 5 job, being like parent of two and so on, busy life, busy dad doing things, and I was still able to do it. I'm not saying that I have like, so I had it super hard or whatever. There are people who have way harder daily lives than I do, and they need to go to job to be on some place. I was able to work remote, so that increases, like, simplifies things a lot. But if you commit, you probably can make it happen. If you're just like listening to this podcast, for example, you can probably make it happen. So that's kind of one of the reasons why I vow so much about this, because to me, like, writing and video takes way more effort than this, in my opinion. Maybe visuals at the beginning will be hard for you, on, as always with like new skill set, but so on. Yeah. And then I talk about as well the consistency, which we just like touched about. It's kind of the same thing. Okay, and this is another important point in this whole thread. Perfect format if your credibility is low, like, as well, when you like write a blog post, write a YouTube video, okay, here and there you can make a hit if it's like very novel idea, and very strong insight, very something, but like with visuals,
that's way harder to do, for example, with writing, maybe, or if, because for example, if I started talking about like social media and content and so on, and you start talking about these things, and maybe it's the type of the content that you're talking about, but I don't know, you start talking about these things, but you have like zero credibility, because I can start talking about, hey, I managed an influencer campaign with 200k euros and 1 million followers, and then you have like 3 followers. That is like harder for people to get. But then with a visual, usually the idea is a bit more simpler too, so it's way easier for it to spread and so on. So as you said, you need zero credibility to do it.
Yeah, definitely. And like, why I'm like vowing about this point so strongly, because I've seen that, like, a lot of people have like taken the course and are done these visuals, and even people who have not taken my course, you don't need my course like to really like do these things and so on. But yeah, there are countless examples who have like zero credibility, raised up really fast. Some people tweet for a year like in crickets and so on, but kind of with visuals, if you embed yourself in the community, and if you like maybe comment, to others and so on. For example, one example was just Leva. He's like tweeted 8 times, no bio, no banner, no nothing, like zero freaking credibility.
Yeah,
Like
it's
puts out
crazy.
puts out 2 tweets. She was in the community, so kind of I commented on it. I liked it. That drives, of course, some initial
Yeah,
engagement. Some other person like likes from community and so on. But still, that's like 10 likes, maybe
yeah,
from the community total.
that's
Somebody
10%.
comments and so
Yeah,
on. And Twitter algorithm, if it's good, it picks up. They understood, okay, this
true.
shit is good. People have impressions, people engage with it, so let's feed it more. And it has like spread to more than thousand likes, and she has like tweeted 8 times, zero credibility, and so on. So I don't know, that seems crazy. I believe to some extent, I probably assume that Twitter algorithm have a thing. If you're new to the Twitter, they might favor you. They might give you some discounts in terms of algorithm to get you hooked on
I
Twitter.
think
I
I think
assume.
that
I have
no,
no idea.
I don't know if Twitter does it, but for example, TikTok does it.
They
Your
reward
first
new creators, yeah.
yeah your first 2-3 videos are probably going to go like, or they have like more chances to go viral because they want to teach you like, this is what happens if you upload videos, so continue uploading videos. you know
Yeah.
So basically, yeah, I think they have like some discount. I just said like discount algorithm something.
But still, like, I wouldn't credit that. There's definitely the point that there's
Yeah, of course,
an
of
interesting
course.
idea, simply visualized, no design background required. She's not a designer, I know her. Like,
It's really good.
consistency
Yeah.
with intensity, like going steady, burned out, consider the long run. Like, interesting idea, wrapped very nicely in a visual and in this thought-provoking way. So a good thought, and went on like completely baloney's. So okay, and continuing, like, why visuals are good in my opinion. I'm just like full on salesperson Janis right now. Visuals that communicate are in like high demand and they bring results. Then Kira basically just talk about that there are several like examples where people actually often quote retweet like visuals and so on. There's like clear illustration of what it takes a book to explain. Simple as that, and there's again the simple visual, one viral of mine, which is like, again, simple idea but interesting idea wrapped in a kind of visual representation, no design background required, goes baloney because you can explain interesting concepts in a novel way. People are so used to seeing text a lot, and this is something that they consume in a couple of seconds and get this idea. And again, here's like visuals like amplify, and there's this example of amazing how when we see things, they can make new or better sense. And there's this visual with vulnerability and these roses and so on. If you watch on YouTube, then you see it. If you listen to podcast, then I'm just going through that thread and just kind of explaining on things. Yeah, and then like kind of to continue that, yeah, I think this is a very untapped market. There are new writers every day. YouTube is like, videos are really going crazy, and there's a huge demand for writers, right? I believe if you're a good copywriter, it's so easy to get a job. Is it true or not? I don't know.
I think it is not like it. I mean, it's easy to get the job but if you're not a good writer, it's harder to keep it. But yeah, it's easy to get opportunities for sure. Like everyone is looking for writers because it's obviously one of the primal forms of communication as humans, I guess. So there will always be demand for writers, even if there is like a lot of writing happening already. But 100%, like, visuals are totally underserved at the moment, even if it feels, I mean, maybe for us it feels that there is a lot because basically we follow everyone, like,
in the bubble.
We are in the bubble, but outside that bubble, I'm 100% sure that it's still ultra early for visuals. 100%.
I think so, and especially with this thinking that explaining ideas visually, and shaking off this, you need to be a designer, but really start with explaining ideas visually and go full on crap mode, ugly as fuck, whatever, and then you can improve from there. And I bet those ugly as fuck, whatever type of visuals, if they will explain good ideas, they will still pop, they will still drive engagement and so on, and you can improve from there if that is a direction where you want to take it. And of course, the more slick your visuals will look, more interested companies will be to like go for you and just hire you and so on. So yeah, I think it's a very underserved market. And just kind of to wrap up the thread I'm just talking about, a lot of people in the community have reported, I guess you could be one of them as well, who like have a lot of fun creating visuals, and they're just loving this process of thinking of these ideas and representing them in a fun way. And I really believe, like, if you love the process, if you are having a lot of fun, it will like bring results, create create good work and so on. And that's really been the case. And here I just kind of give a lot of examples from the community that people can check out, things that have like went viral and whatnot. And you can, here's yours as well, which I really like. Like this is another great one and wrapped in a very beautiful style, in my opinion, in kind of your style.
For me, it's like, it's super. I mean, for me, if you told me that 4 months ago that I could be able to do this, for me, this is crazy. You know, I have like zero drawing skills or anything like it. You know,
these stickmans are so good. I love that they are squarey, and that's very cool to me.
But they're like that because I actually traced a few examples that I found online. So I traced them, but obviously my tracing is not the same that the drawing. It's worse, but it makes it kind of unique, right?
It makes it different and so on. But this one is good. I love it. Like to be super critical. I can see here that their line weight here is thicker. Of course. So I would just make the points aligned, but whatever, that's me perfectionist mode on. If like,
you know, what's the thing,
idea delivered.
I see most of these things, but I don't really care, you know. I just
and that's the way to go.
Like no one notices except you.
Like has this, it's like 250.
No, this one actually is a good example. This one went way better on Instagram than here.
Oh really? Yeah, I believe it's very Instagramish.
Because here I think maybe it was a bit too complex, maybe for the kind of ideas that get more spread on Twitter. But then on Instagram, I'm just starting. Instagram I'm using like 100% as an experiment. I don't advertise it anywhere. You know, I haven't mentioned on Twitter that I have Instagram or whatever.
Have it in your bio link.
Yeah, no bio link yet, but I don't say it, right. But look at the visual on Instagram. Look at the likes. So it's 220 likes, but I have 2,230 followers.
That is like equal. that's like really. Imagine if you get like.
If I got like 100% success rate on Twitter, that would be like 24,000 likes.
Yeah.
So that's the thing that surprised me. Like, okay, on Instagram they did pretty well. On Twitter it didn't do that well.
This one did really well, doing stuff.
This one did really well. Yeah.
I really love, because it's a very cool idea.
Yeah.
How you think it works, motivation, research, learn, doing, how it really works, doing, and then the motivation. I love the idea. It's very nicely done.
And I think these ideas actually are super spreadable too, because a lot of people can relate to it, right? So we all want to start doing things, and we are waiting like, wow, getting motivated about doing this or that. But the truth is that it comes with doing. It is motivation, right? So
learning here and there, it's definitely necessary. But if I would start over, I would definitely lean into more doing, and then supplement that, of course, with learning and self-help books and all that stuff. But don't go 100% self-help books and zero application.
Exactly.
So and that is kind of the thread. I kind of finish up with, I think, these examples. Just show some newcomers and so on, and then just kind of pitch my course at the end. But I really believe by this. I think if you are aspiring content creator, if it is your dream, and if you think your thing is like writing or videos, maybe it is, do it, try it, and so on. But I think if you are like at the step where you are like, fuck the content creator dream, I'll skip on it, maybe give visuals a shot. It can maybe really be your thing as well. You can find it very fun, very engaging, and it can actually like bring results, which will drive motivation. And then that's a nice loop how to actually get things going. So
and the worst part, it can be like a complement to whatever you do. If you end up doing videos or whatever, then this could be like a complement, right? Because my main thing in my case is writing, but visuals, like I like a nice complement where I throw visual every now and there, here or there, to communicate different types of ideas or so on. So it's not always writing. It's a great way to break the pattern too, So,
yeah, exactly. And I think if you communicate ideas in whatever type of way, you'll probably find it easy to generate like visual ideas as well. But it's perfect. It's like nice supplement for you. But that's the thread. That's the idea. Decide on your own, but just sharing my story, being very honest here.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's the episode, right?
Yeah, I think it's a great one too.
Okay, let us know what you think. We are on Twitter, VNG Pod.
Yep.
That's it. Okay.
See you soon.
Bye.